working to try to stabilize this community. And we're getting ready to turn back onto Buckner. We're kind of
That's illegal.
no, well, Cowboy Toyota over here on the right is one of our partners. Okay, at the light we're going to be turning left onto Chenault. And again, we're still in what's known as the 2 Points weed and seed area. That again, we're spending half of our monies from the Department of Justice on crime prevention and law enforcement initiatives. One of the things that we learned in the graduated site was we learned that the best way to fight crime was police presence. It was much more effective than drug by bus and undercover things that were going on. It was much more effective to just have a high police presence. We were able to reduce crime almost immediately once we saturated the community with police patrols.
How much do you add? Like, how many times? Like 5 times more? 10 times more police?
I don't know the answer to that because that's not my job. I don't know the exact amount, but it's been very, very effective. Okay. And we change it around. You know, we have bike patrols as well. The bike patrols have been very effective because they can get into the apartments. They create relationships with those families and kids in the area apartments, and that's been very effective as well. One other thing I can say about Truett is that school desperately needs a new wing, and there's no community to advocate for them to get it on even the school bond. They're still not getting a new wing. With this last bond package, there's still no wing that's designated for them. When we go see Bale School in a moment, first bond package, I guess it was 2002, the big one, first thing we did was we advocated that school get a wing on it with a library, and that's exactly what happened. You're going to see that today. And what can happen with the power of a community behind you. Lang Middle School on the left, coming up on the left. We just had a very successful health and housing and safety fair there. We had 2,000 families that showed up. We gave away 500 backpacks of supplies. And it's just a wonderful example of school principals working with the community. They're out there and they're working so hard. I really tip my hat off to the principals in this community. Now, as we go by, there we go. As we go, we also just had a gang and drug prevention education conference here in April, which was very successful. Now, as we head on, we're going to be turning left on a moment on, is that Toledo?
Yes.
On Toledo. And you're going to see 3 horrible apartment complexes. Look how close they are to our middle school. We're talking about what has happened at this complex over here, the Royal Orleans, and the next 2 after that. We've had stabbings, we've had shootings, and it was a security guard who had a police record who got hired at one of these places, and they shot a resident. We've had stabbings. The owner of the property on the very corner here at Senate and Toledo, he told me, these were his words, "Vicki, that property is a shooting gallery." And I didn't really know whether he meant shooting drugs or shooting with guns. I figured it was probably both. And then the little office place right here across the street was where they just found 30 gambling machines, firearms, and cash. To your left, as we come up and approach 30, you're going to see a men's strip club. Is it the red lot sign?
Yes,
With the red sign, the Men's Palace. And then we'll be turning right, and then we'll also get to see this lovely property, the Lamplighter Motel. Now, y'all, there are solid middle-class families and homes that are built behind these properties that have to put up with prostitutes, getting in cars from people that pull off of 30, and they do their tricks and their johns and all that in the alleys of these folks' property. This is wrong. This is not right. And we've got many of these, this is just one of many that are along I-30. phase of our program today. Now, the driver's going to be turning right onto Honeycutt, and as we get onto Honeycutt, we'll be heading towards Highland Road. And I love to talk about Highland Road because that was the first big project that this community did. Once we got that 98 urban design study done, it said you should fix Highland Road because guess what? You've got 500 children, some of them kindergartners, walking to Bales School with no shoulders. No, forget the sidewalks. There wasn't even shoulders on this road. And so the Ferguson Road Initiative took that on as our first advocacy project with the 98 bond. And it was great because we had PTA presidents and schools and faith communities and the apartment owners and the apartment residents and the homeowners all got behind this. We had over 1,000 signatures to advocate to put the restoration, the rebuilding of Highland Road on the 98 bond program. And indeed, it was finished and opened in 2005, $3.7 million for Highland Road, which makes it today a safe road for children to walk on. One of the reasons that we worked so hard on it is because a child was killed on the road going to school. And this morning when I drove it, you'll see that it's highly trafficked. A lot of the folks that live in the surrounding apartments have to depend on public transportation. And this is just a highly trafficked area in terms of foot traffic. This is it. This is Highland Road. From Jim Miller to Ferguson. We're on our way to Ferguson, but we're going to take a little detour around Bales. Now, I love Bales because Claremont Drive is my street. I live on this street, and it just bothered me that I saw little children going to school in the dark with no coats in the winter, and I just wanted to know more about Bales Elementary. Even though I taught at a private school, I felt like this was my school, and I still do. Bales, you'll see hundreds of trees. Those trees are planted by my community. In fact, just today when Susan and I were doing the drive-thru, she was up looking at the trees to see if DISD had, chipped the bark off of them or something. She's all upset about it. But for 8 years, we had a health, safety, housing, and financial wellness fair on the campus of Bales. One of our key partners at Bales is Lake Hill Prep School. Roger Perry's with us today, the headmaster who's on our board for a long time. Lake Hill is a community partner with Bales. And I have to just say, Bales changed the marquee for you guys. If you'll look at the marquee, it says, "Welcome Dallas Leaders." And that's Francie Tafer. She did that. She's the principal here at the school. But we have a $2.7 million new wing on Bales with a library and bathrooms and a place for these children to go. It was overcrowded. Now it's at 100% capacity. It shouldn't be at 225%. We got all the portables removed except for 6, and there were 25. That was one of the deals we said. We'll advocate for the bond program if you get rid of the portable buildings. It took us till this year to get it done, but all of it was done. The community looks out for this school. When there's graffiti on the back of these portables, we let them know immediately, and it's taken care of immediately, like within a day. And all these trees back here were planted by my community, the Claremont neighborhood. This is where I live. I said that we have about 23 neighborhoods now in the FRI area. Claremont was one of the very first that were formed. Through your packet of materials, you'll see that there's another area of FRI that I call the Forest Hills area, and that area is fairly stable. That area, actually, it is very stable because to the west they've got the lake, and they don't have multifamily housing around them. But we realized that we had to partner with those neighborhoods. We had to communicate effectively with those neighborhoods because they're looking out for us at Garland and Buckner. And y'all have seen the construction at near the Castle Linda Shopping Center. We're excited about that.